Yo, what's up, y'all? It's Cone back here again tonight with another video. This isn't going to be a full recap of the NBA games. It's not going to be an After the Buzzer episode because there's still one game going on as I'm recording this, and I've got to be up early, so I really just don't have time to do the full recap. But there is one game I want to talk about in particular that happened tonight. The Golden State Warriors versus the Atlanta Hawks. The Warriors winning by 14 points to go to 9-1 on the season. I've been meaning to talk about them for a while now. They've been the best team in the West so far this year, the best team in the NBA period, record-wise, and Steph Curry finally gave me a reason to make a video like this about them. Steph Curry dropping 50 points, the first player to do so this season, 10 assists, 7 rebounds, hitting a ton of threes, making not only just threes, but typical Steph Curry shots that no other player in NBA history probably makes. He's ridiculous, and just his ability to affect the game every single second he's on the court, even if he's not making shots, which he absolutely was tonight, it's crazy to watch. He right now, if I had to pick someone, is probably my MVP favorite because he has had a game like this. He had a 40-point game earlier in the season, and overall, he's just been really good on a team that has the best record in the NBA. However, Steph Curry really isn't even carrying this team like you might imagine he is. If you just looked at this game with Steph Curry dropping 50 and 10, the second highest score was Jordan Poole with 16, and then a few other in double digits, you might think that Steph Curry has been carrying this team kind of the way he has last year. But Steph Curry, before that, this game's point scoring is factored into his average, is scoring a low in points for a multitude of seasons. He hasn't scored that low in a very long time. Shooting splits are down. Steph Curry hasn't quite been up to the level of Steph Curry that we saw last season or even the previous seasons before. Yet, he's still phenomenal, and this Warriors team is 9-1. It's really weird to see because coming into the season, a lot of people thought this Warriors team really isn't that different. Steph's still going to have to carry them until Klay Thompson comes back. But that has not been the case at all. Before the season, I said, I thought this Warriors team got a lot better. And I kind of want to talk about why they're a lot better, things that I saw in this game in particular, about why they are better, and just overall why right now I think if they kind of look like the team to beat in the West, even without Klay Thompson. Of course, they've got Steph Curry, one of the best players in the world. If you said he was the best in the world, I'm not going to argue with you. That's how good he is. He can score it well, best three-point shooter of all time. And I know this is a term that a lot of people use that people kind of roll their eyes at, but Steph Curry's gravity is ridiculous. The Hawks had to do whatever they could, especially when Curry is going off like this. You've got to do everything. You've got to sell out completely to stop him from shooting the ball, because if he gets even the smallest bit of space, he's going to drill a three. And you can't stop him, whether he drives in and hits a floater. And the thing is, even if you double team him, part of the reason why the Warriors are so much more effective this season is even if Steph isn't scoring as much, teams know how good Steph Curry is. He is capable of these 50-point games any given night. He could drill 13, 15 threes probably even on any given night. That's how scary he is. Of course, he's not going to do that every night because he's human somehow. But the ability of him to pass out the double teams and the defenses that really sell out for stopping him is a big piece to why this Warriors team is succeeding, but not only his ability to pass out of those double teams and pass out of those situations where they attack him completely, his teammates are knocking down shots. That was not something we saw at all last season. One of the biggest pieces to why this Warriors team is succeeding so much outside of Steph Curry is Jordan Poole. He had 16 points tonight, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. He is a secondary scorer. Last season, the Warriors did not have a secondary scorer like this. Andrew Wiggins was probably their second best scorer on that team, and he's just not that kind of guy. He's better. He was one of their better defensive players as well, so he's putting a lot of effort in on that end. He's never been a phenomenal offensive player. He was for the first few seasons, never the most efficient player. He can't be your second option on a championship team. But having him be your 3A, 3B, 4 option behind a Jordan Poole and then Klay Thompson, when Klay Thompson comes back, you can 100% do that. 100%. And the way that Jordan Poole is able to create his own shot, give Steph Curry those possessions off, it's been huge for him. He's been able to put in more effort defensively. He's been really solid defensively this season. It allows him to kind of get more in rhythm. And when he goes to the bench, the team doesn't blow the lead immediately. There are times where the Warriors actually gain on their leads when Steph Curry's on the bench, which is something we really didn't see last year. And a lot of that is due to the ability of Jordan Poole, his ability to knock down shots, whether he's in with Steph Curry or not, his ability to create for others as evident by the 4 assists, being a secondary ball handler. Jordan Poole can do a little bit of everything, and that is something that this team massively missed last year. And also, the increase in shooting threats, including guys like Otto Porter Jr. and Nemanja Bjelica, who are fantastic players for this system. They make a ton of sense. Adding guys like that to this team really helps Draymond Green out as well. He's always been a playmaker. He's never really been an offensive player. He has been more kind of aggressive offensively this season, which I think is helpful for this Warriors team. They need him to look to shoot at least sometimes so teams aren't just ignoring him. But Draymond is getting his typical assist numbers. He got 9 tonight, 7 rebounds, 4 points, the typical Draymond Green stat line. Having a playmaker like him and giving him so many weapons to operate to. If Draymond gets the ball at like the elbow, and guys kind of just spread out, it becomes so dangerous because he could rifle past to any one of them and they're going to chuck up a 3, and there's a solid chance that it's going to go in. Having Draymond on this team, this team fits not only great with Steph Curry, but it fits great with Draymond Green as well, and when Klay Thompson comes back, it's going to be great as well too. Klay Thompson is just going to add another shooting threat that you can't really guard because of how many threats this team has. They're also missing James Wiseman, who I know didn't have a great season last year, but I do think his ability to stretch the floor out a little bit more will be beneficial when he does come back. And having Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green on the court alongside him, guys that can shoot, playmake for him if they need to, I think it's going to help his game out a lot. He's really not going to have to do that much. Not nearly as much as he was asked to do last season, and I think that's going to be more of a comfortable role for him, and he's going to be much more effective in that role. More role players that are excelling. Damian Lee, Juan Toscano-Anderson, 2 guys who were on the team last year, but due once again to the increase in shooting threats, are able to kind of shoulder less of a burden, and they're having both great seasons. Juan Toscano-Anderson, I like his game a lot. He's he's one of those guys that he's always going to get up in your face. There was a play in this game towards the end where the Hawks were getting a little bit of momentum, nothing crazy, and then Juan Toscano-Anderson strips the ball from Bogdan Bogdanovic in the corner, dives on the ground, gets that jump ball, and plays like that are plays that help you win games, shift momentum. A guy like Gary Payton II, who is a defensive stopper, he has been phenomenal for this team. I've said this in a previous video. I can't believe they were able to get him. He's been so good for this Warriors team. He had a poster dunk last game, which was just the icing on the cake. This Warriors team is really good. They're phenomenal. They even have 2 young guys in Moses Moody. Moses Moody, I think, can produce right away, and Jonathan Kuminga, who could develop. If they really wanted to go all in, they could theoretically package those guys for another guy alongside Andrew Wiggins. I don't think they do that, but that is an option they have if they do decide at the trade deadline, hey, maybe they're still on top of the West and they say, let's go out and get one more star. Maybe someone's disgruntled. You package those young pieces together in an Andrew Wiggins contract. Maybe you go get something. Don't think that'll happen. I think that's a little beyond the scope of realism. If it's not, come back to this video. But overall, this Warriors team is just super good. Defensively, they are locked in. Their offensive system operates great. People keep saying the Warriors haven't played anyone. They beat the Lakers and they beat the Clippers, who have looked very solid so far. This Hawks team isn't bad. They're on a bad stretch. They're in a slump. That's true. But this is a very talented Hawks team. They've got a guy in DeAndre Hunter who can get you stops. Trae Young is an offensive machine. Clint Capella is a solid defensive big. This is a good team. They're no pushover, and the Warriors, despite going down they were down like a little bit at half, down in the third quarter, and they turned that around immediately. This Warriors team reminds me a lot of those Warriors teams, especially like the 15-16 or 14-15 Warriors teams. I'm not saying they're as good as those teams because those teams won a championship and then broke the record for regular season wins, but it reminds me of them in the way that how they can kind of erase a lead with ease. They can drill a million threes. They can get defensive stops. This team is built well, and like that team where they've got Steph Curry, they've got Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson's going to come back, and then they've got a lot of really solid role players, a la like Leandro Barbosa, the return of Andre Iguodala, who despite being 36, 37 years old is playing phenomenally for them. He's been a solid playmaker for them. He had 2 assists tonight, and there was another game, I think he had like 9 the other night, 6 points, playing his typical brand of lockdown defense. Andre Iguodala returning to the Warriors, and it looks like he never even left. He fit back into the system seamlessly. The Warriors are terrifying. And I have to keep reiterating, they don't have Klay Thompson. And he's a guy who I think is going to come in and immediately be great again. He might not be the defensive player he once was, but they really don't even need him to be that great defensively. If he can be just a solid defender, you have Draymond Green and Andrew Wiggins on the court as well. And like I mentioned, Steph Curry's been playing some good defense alongside guys like Iguodala, Gary Payton II. They've got defensive guys. They just need Klay to come in and be the old Klay Thompson where he just shot threes and just drilled them with like 3 dribbles a game. He could drop 60 points. I think Klay's going to come back, maybe not to that level, but he's still going to be a really good player. His game didn't rely on athleticism. His game didn't even rely on him being mobile. He never dribbled the ball. He never really had to ball handle at all. He just drilled threes. And I think Klay Thompson has one of the purest shooting forms in the league. He doesn't even need to lift off the lot. Klay Thompson's going to be perfectly fine. I think he's going to come back and be a 20-point per game scorer. Of course, there is going to be some rust. That's to be expected. But if he comes back in time to shake off the rust and go into the playoffs, this Warriors team is going to be really hard to beat. They're really, really good. People are going to keep saying they haven't played anyone. The thing is, they're blowing teams out. Like, there aren't a lot of games that are close on this Warriors team schedule. They are blowing teams out. And the sign of a good team is you beat the teams you're supposed to, but not just beat them, you blow them out. And that's what the Warriors are doing. So, shout out to the Warriors. Once again, like I said, they're phenomenal. Steph Curry, incredible night from him. This Warriors team is super fun to watch. I missed watching this version of the Warriors. The Warriors back in 2015-16, just the beautiful ball movement, the threes, Steph Curry being a monster. I'm excited for Klay Thompson to come back, and this Warriors team looks scary. I appreciate y'all watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I'll see you all later. Real one say.